Welcome to Coaching in Session,
where limits end and growth begins.
Hosted by Michael Rearden.
This is your space to challenge the ordinary,
unlock your potential,
and step boldly into your next chapter.
Your mindset journey continues.
One of the things I think that happen often when it comes to our own emotional wellness and our emotional well-being is that people fail to take ownership in how they're feeling or how they want to feel. Because we can say that we want to feel good, right? Most people, if I say, do you want to feel happy? You'll say, yes, I want to feel happy. I say, do you want to feel joy? He says, yes, I want to feel joy. I said, do you want to, be grateful? Yes, I want to be grateful. But I can talk about all of these positive moments and emotions. We will dive into them sometimes, and then we will run away from them most of the time. And we have to ask ourselves, what type of emotional maturity are we holding on to if we are allowing ourselves to become A, too emotional at times and it's not productive, or B, destructive because our emotions are there. Now, this is all to say that everyone's going to be a human, right? You're going to human, right? Some days you're just going to be down and out and you're going to feel as if maybe you just need a break. Perhaps you just got broken up with, and what you want to do is not go out and be mature and go out and say, I'm going to go to the gym, and the gym can be a great outlet actually. But you say, I'm going to go home and eat some pizza. I'm going to go home and eat some ice cream. I'm so stressed. I'm so upset, right? And that can cause a lot of problems. That coping mechanism of doing something that's harmful to the body can one day be harmful to the mind. And then, of course, this idea of being in control, especially of our emotions, are going to be, in a sense, flaunted in a way of we are in control sometimes. Well, why not all the time? Why can't we be in control all the time? Now, I'm going to walk down a couple of different ideas and we're going to get into a whole conversation. But before I do that, I want to share with you this article, Emotional Ownership, the mindset shift that ends blame and helps you take control of your life. Because what we're going to be talking about today is how the emotions that we're feeling are going to be a part of our life. We can blame someone else for how we're feeling, right? That's a valid thing, right? I know people do it, but it doesn't bring about any productivity in our life. If I started blaming my wife for how I feel or for how my life is, it would have no level of action beyond me becoming more annoyed with my wife if she did something wrong. So I don't do that. It's not helpful. I need to be in charge of me. And most people don't want to be in charge of themselves. So as long as they don't want to be in charge of themselves, they will say, hey, this person made me mad. This person did this to me. This person did me wrong. As long as you're over here passing out all the blame to everyone, you're not going to take any accountability for yourself. And we need to be able to take accountability, because if we don't take accountability, we will never be in control. So this is this idea that if we want to get back in control of our life, we need to take ownership in our emotions. Now, I say all this because it goes down to one of the main points I want to talk about in this conversation. Because, like I said, everyone wants to feel a certain way. Everyone wants to feel happy. Everyone wants to feel content. Everyone wants to feel secure. People, they want this, right? They want to feel comfortable as well. Now, there's going to be some crazy son of guns that want to feel uncomfortable, right? We look at David Goggins. We look at people who run these large marathons, right? Those things are uncomfortable. But you know what they do? They train their minds to be uncomfortable during those times. They can be feeling so many different types of emotions during the events that they do, from happiness and joy in the beginning to distress and sorrow toward the end. What I will say is that life is not so much about the marathon race, right? Even though we know that the sprint, right, the life marathon is going to be the long haul, like the journey. We know that. But there's a different mindset that we have to incorporate when we're trying to look at our emotional well-being. Because if I'm going to snap at everybody who talks to me because I'm in a bad mood, that's not helpful to me and it's not helpful to them. Because if we remember what we talked about last week, that's going to cause more mental overload because now they're worried about themselves and worried about me, and I'm worried about myself, and I'm worried about them. I'm giving myself more problems, and it's all because I couldn't regulate myself. So I need to know how to regulate myself, and I need to be intentional to how I'm going to operate my emotions. I'm not going to lean on my emotions and say, well, I'm sad today. I can't do anything. Well, yesterday was a better day, so I should have done things yesterday, not today. No, right? We can't be in that mindset of we look at our emotional state and say, hey, this is a better day for me to take action. Of course, there can be better days when we take action, but we're not going to just say, I'm sad, and we don't do anything. And I can't tell you how many times I've had children especially do this, where they use that emotion that they're feeling to become stagnant. They go, I'm frozen. I'm not doing anything. I'm stuck. I'm not moving, right? Well, you know what happens when we do that as a child? If we don't learn how to fix that as a child, we will replicate it as an adult. So we have a bunch of adults now that are literally over here feeling an emotion and saying, I don't like that emotion. Let me stop what I'm doing. Now, this is to say, if things hurt and things are not good, maybe they could be learning lessons so we don't keep on doing it, right? We don't want to keep butting our head against the wall and feeling pain and saying, well, let me keep doing it so I don't feel pain anymore, right? We need some common sense when it comes to emotional ownership. Now, the ownership aspect is the responsibility aspect, right? We are responsible for us, okay? If you're a parent, you're responsible to your children until they turn 18. But we are at the end of the day, our life, we are responsible for it. So that means we need to take control in it. That means how we're feeling. And of course, it's okay to feel a certain way. I know recently when we were dealing with a lot of stuff in the family, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to ruminate. And it's so funny because I'm telling myself, I'm saying, I know I shouldn't ruminate because it's not helpful, but I just want to experience this emotion. Like I want to be in control of it. So I started to think about, the things that happened, right? And in a sense, the thing that happened was negative, but it was something I wanted to work through, right? I was in the mindset of being able to work through something that was negative. Not everybody can do that. Some people, they see something negative, and the moment they start looking at it or ruminating on it, they become negative, they become spiteful, they become hateful, they become sad. There's something that goes on in them. For me, it was more inquisitive. What's going on here? Like, let me pay attention. If you are the boss or CEO and you hear some co-workers fighting and arguing in the cubicles, you're going to go over there and say, hey, what's going on? You're not going to be like, oh, let me look out my window and get my cup of coffee. Now I got a show. I don't have to turn on pay-per-view. No. Like, we don't want to be in that environment, right? Especially if you are a leader. You want to have control to some degree over the environment that you're creating, right? Your business. Well, I decided to ruminate, right? Because I wanted to, again, feel that emotion. I wanted to pay attention to it. And I wanted to do something that most people fail to do. Now, of course, I do this with some of my clients, but we look at how far we've come. We look at the growth that we have occurred in the months or years of coaching, right? Where we said, do you remember back in the day, if they did this, you would have flipped out, you would have started yelling, you would have started screaming, and now you're cool as a cucumber. How did that happen? Well, it didn't happen overnight, of course. We know that. We had to basically say, what's the shift? What's the shift in the trigger? If someone does this to me, do I just get mad? Do I get upset? Or do I learn? And learning is the best thing we can do, right? Because we can learn that this makes you angry, that this is going to get you upset. But no one is in control of your thoughts, your feelings, or your actions. So why are we giving people control of our feelings, how we're feeling, our emotional state? Someone can make you sad because maybe they do you wrong or do wrong by you. But at the end of the day, can you be proud of what you have done? And most people can't say either or. Most people are getting wronged by people and are doing the wrong thing. And then they're doing wrong to themselves or by themselves. And they're also having that blame there. So they're blaming themselves and they're blaming others. And there's no win-win there. So we have to look at not only our situation, but the situation of others as well. Now, I want to start off with ourselves. I think that's maybe the most important one, because the article talks quite a bit about how you can help yourself, how you can get in control, how you can justify your emotions, how you can cut through the cycles that you're living in, how you can become level-headed, how you can basically empower yourself to take more action, how you can allow the emotions to unaffect you at certain points, how you can become disciplined and transform your current life. And, at the end of the day, all of this is just creating the honesty within yourself to understand, hey, I'm human. I'm going to feel emotions. I know how to navigate those emotions, right? We can't be afraid of our emotions, even though in our world today, especially men, we say that we can't talk about our emotions. We can't feel our emotions. Heck, when my kids smile, when my kids are doing things, I'm filled with joy. I don't care about the emotion. I'm filled with joy, and I'll let everyone in the world know, right? I love them. But we're taught that we can't show that. We have to be hard. We have to be tough. We have to be rigid. We have to be rugged. And of course, there is a time when you have to be that. But if that's going to be your identity as a man, you're going to find yourself with many hurdles down the road when you change physically and mentally. There's going to be a gap. I'm not saying that you need to fix it now. I just want you to understand that. Now, individually, our emotions, right? We are in control. But then again, we live as if we're not in control. Someone cuts you off on the street, on the highway. You say, curse you, F you, you son of a B. I can't believe you did that. Oh my God, right? So you're just like, literally, the littlest thing is activating you, right? Not saying that you can't get triggered, not saying that you might not be in a good place or that you don't have a lot of stuff going on, because you might be at your wit's end. Sometimes this happens with my kids. I'm literally worried about this. I'm worried about that. I have this on my plate. I'm trying to do this. And I'm so focused on everything but the family. And the moment the kids do something to distract me from everything that I'm trying to deal with, it's almost like anger starts to come out. I'm just like, whoa, where did this come from? Right? They didn't do anything but be amazing. They didn't do anything but enjoy the life that they're living. And I'm over here basically trying to belittle that or hurt their feelings or to yell in the sense of feeling empowering or, to feel as if I'm in control. But all of those things are not helpful. Yeah, sure. I can be the bigger person, right? Because I am the bigger person. And I can say, well, let me talk about, what's going on and let's try to relay things and let's do positive and gentle parenting. But the reality is, how many people are going to do that? How many people are going to opt for yelling rather than consoling or conversating? More people are going to yell, scream, and shout, berate, say things that they might have wished they never said. And of course, it's easy for us to say in our mind, they deserved it. They earned that. They need to learn the hard way, right? We know that we can say things to validate what we say and what we do, right? We can validate our emotions every single day. Someone does you wrong, you wish wrong upon them. That's easy, right? I remember, and I talk about the story quite a bit. It's one of our favorite stories. We grew up Catholic, and there was a priest. His name was Father Paul. Great guy, like amazing guy, where he was the nicest guy in the world, maybe, And one day for church service, it was a very large showing of the community, where all the pews were filled, and we were in the overflow section, like in the attic area. And it was kind of cool to go up there because we got a view of everything and we could see all the people, and it was a lot of fun. And I remember there was a point where we get bells and we sing, some Christmas songs and, we shake the bells. Well, someone stole the bells at church. And I remember Father Paul saying, well, we don't have the bells this year because someone took them, someone acquired them, someone stole them, whatever he said. But we were all angry, right? You could tell the whole church was like, who in the world will steal bells from the church, right? Now the kids can't have bells. Now I can't have bells, right? I'm mad. And if I find this person, I'm going to let them know I'm mad. I'm going to punch them. I'm going to restrain them. I'm going to beat them up, whatever you're going to do, right? You have a lot of negativity, right? Well, Father Paul, he said something profound for many of us. We all started laughing too, because it was the opposite of what the majority of the congregation was thinking about. Was, if you see the person who stole the bells, give them a hug. And we were like, give them a hug, like we're about to give them a beat down, right? We're about to show them you don't steal the bells from our church. And he basically helped us with a different perspective, where our emotions were anger and payback. And now it was like, wait, we can choose something else. We can choose love. We could choose kindness. We could choose peace. Who would have thought? Now, of course, this is not to say that every situation we can do that in, right? Some situations, it doesn't matter how peaceful and calm and kind you are. Sometimes you need to have that control of your emotions, where maybe you have to be that fire. Maybe you have to be that spark. Maybe you have to be that lightning. And even though it's for a moment, do you allow that moment to say, okay, now that moment is over, I'm going to feel it for the rest of the night? It was something I had to deal with, because I remember when I was angry in college, I was very angry in college, where it was just a lot of stress. And every time something went wrong, I would hold on to the anger for the whole evening, for the whole weekend, maybe even for the whole week. And it was to the point where I realized holding on to that anger was toxic. It was toxic for me. It was toxic for the people that were around me. It wasn't helpful to my mindset. And I started to blame myself at the end of the day for feeling this way, because I'm holding on to it and I forgot who it belonged to. I forgot who I was angry at. I forgot that the world is going to do what the world does, test me. I know I can pass a test. I know I can pass with flying colors. I know I can be in control. I know I can be the one that says, okay, right? But there's going to be moments, right? It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. But this is not to say that the imperfection is going to allow you to just magically, allow everything to happen. All right. Like, oh, this happened. I'm allowed to be angry. Right. I'm not sure if you ever heard someone say that. My mom said that once. She was like, I'm allowed to be angry. I'm allowed to be upset. And I go, yeah, you are perfectly right. You can allow yourself to be that. But the world doesn't allow you just to, be a person that is not helpful long term. Think about it. The world is going to reward the people who are in a mindset of positivity and kindness, because that's the direction that they're moving toward. The people who are stagnant, the people who are not moving, the people who are negative, the world is not going to reward you. And I say this not because there's a number that you're going to be and you're going to get called and all of a sudden everything is going to work out. I'm saying this because if you start to do something productive, you're going to build something that you're trying to build. And if you're not doing anything, you're not going to have anything. So it's this idea of we can build something, we can take ownership on building it, or we can just be passive about things and be upset that we don't have things. And this is where a lot of people are. They're upset that they don't have things. But then again, they never took ownership. They never took ownership of their actions. They never took ownership of their feelings. So if we know that, who's to blame? Oftentimes it's us, right? We are the people who are in control of ourselves. And this is now getting into this idea, right? That blame idea, right? Can blame be a good thing? In a sense, if you have a good, strong mindset, of course, you can blame yourself. But I believe what works better for people is that instead of saying that you're blaming yourself, is that you're taking accountability for the blame, right? You're taking accountability for that negativity, for the things that are going on, right? Because if you transfer that meaning of blame to accountability, now you have control again. Now you can say, I have control. This is good for me. Because like I said, anyone can get you upset. Anyone can do something that's going to trigger you. Because now we get into the realm of what you do for others or what you do upon others. Because like I said, just because I'm upset, it doesn't mean I have to make you upset. It doesn't mean I have to use my words to belittle you or hurt you. And I heard a quote the other day, and I'm not going to say it exactly verbatim. The quote said that you are a small person if you choose to belittle someone, meaning that sometimes you're going to look at a person and you're going to make fun of them. You're going to say that they're not it, or, they'll never be anything, right? Like some negativity going on toward that individual. You're doing it in a way to cope because you are also living in that same environment, in that same area. So your peers essentially are all doing exactly what you're doing, but you want to be a step above them. So the way you would do it is by saying, I belittle you so I can lift me up. But then again, we know that's toxic. We know that's not helpful. We know that's not taking emotional ownership. We know that's playing the blame game, essentially. That's not taking control. That's relinquishing our control. Versus if you see someone who's struggling like you are struggling, if you help them, in a sense, your mindset is getting helped as well. Because you can see now firsthand how believable it can become, how much work needed in order to change. Sometimes it could be a lot, but then sometimes it could be just very, very little. I think of it this way. If someone is having a bad day, what can you do in order to fix it? Okay. Maybe you can buy them some chocolate, right? You could do those things, right? You can, do the superficial things, right? That's pretty easy. But what about the things that have more meaning than you perceive? Someone's having a really bad day and you decide to open the door for them. Now, all of a sudden, they're like, all hope is not lost, right? I got the door open for me, right? That right there can be a metaphor. The door is open in life, right? And you get to choose to walk through, or you get to choose to stay on the other side. Imagine it's the blizzard outside right now and you are freezing cold and the door is open to a warm lobby, a warm hotel lobby where they have hot chocolate and they have free rooms that you can go up to and relax. But you choose to say, I'm not going to walk through this door. I'm not going to walk through this door. And I'm not going to get the hot chocolate. And I'm not going to get the hotel room. And I'm just going to curse everybody who's enjoying themselves inside the hotel. Is that helpful or is that not helpful? It is not, right? We know that, right? That's common sense. But this is in all aspects of our life, in how we look at people and their benefits. For example, the cars they're driving, the clothes that they're in, the careers that they have. We might look at people and disdain them because they have those things. Yet we have the same opportunity. We can walk through that door as well and have the same things. This is where we can get back control. This is where we can say that we don't have to hate people because they have something different. We don't have to hate people because they have the same as us and we want to feel a semblance a bit better. This is to say that we can feel and be whatever we want and it doesn't matter what anyone else is around us. Of course, when you start to elevate, people are going to start to drag you down or try to drag you down or be those anchors in your life. They're going to try it. I guarantee you. They're going to try it. But this is where you have to understand that you're stronger. You are the owner of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. There's no blame that's going to make you feel a certain way because they will try to blame. They will try to play the blame game. They will try to take control of your life. They will try to say what is for you, but that's not theirs to choose. It is yours to choose. It is yours to choose to walk through that door and go into that hotel lobby and fill up your mug with hot chocolate and get a room. Or it's yours to stay outside and bicker and complain and just have this air about you that nothing's going to change. And nothing will change unless you change. So there's a mindset that has to happen. And the mindset can begin here with this article, Emotional Ownership, the mindset shift that ends blame and helps you take control of your life. This right here can be a pivotal moment for many of the individuals who are facing themselves in an area of darkness and negativity, or they're allowing stress to become a burden in their life, where they're not allowing people to come in and go into their life freely. This is to say, if we are not doing the things that are conducive to a good life or to a helpful life, then there's a lot of work that needs to get done. Of course, if you need help, you can check out the article, or you can reach out to us, revenconcepts.com, get yourself a consultation, call us, let us know what's going on, let us know what you would like to feel, what you would like to change, and then begin that process. Sometimes when it comes to our emotions, it's easy for us to choose to ignore them. It is easy for us to throw them away, to sweep them under the rug, or to say another day. But one of the most powerful things we can do is be in control of how we feel. From the feelings we want to ruminate on, the memories we want to think about, even though they might have some nostalgia or some sadness, but ultimately, if we can do it right, it will all lead to the happiness, the joy that we're seeking. So seek the joy, seek the happiness, seek something more in your life. Become the owner of your emotions and begin to pay attention to how much control you start to regain into your life.